Yeah, I mean that really just sends us into our next segment, which is going to be talking about the UW athletic department's budget trouble or financial trouble, sorry,
Mm.
and what their next steps might be. I mean, this is all following what we knew was bound to happen once the seasons were canceled and COVID started running rampant across the world. And that I think it was in June, we furloughed some like
Yeah,
156 professionals and
a lot of
and
the
union staff and
staff.
stuff. We had to do that again in
Mm.
not only in sorry, not in May. We didn't do that again in May. We did that again very
Just
recently.
a week ago or so, they
Yeah, a week
cut.
ago. It was 16 positions, right?
Yeah, 16 positions were cut, and then another like 35 or so were put on furlough. And I mean, overall, the UWs, they're planning to cut a total of like $28 million in staff and operation expenses, which is just, I mean, that's an absurd number that they're trying to cut just because of the financial trouble that they're in.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about any campus or any sports program, whether it's a professional league like the NFL or the NHL, or if it's a college sport all the way down to Pee Wee football, like you're coming down to the black and the red at the end of the day. Like everything in this in college is practically run by money, if not everything, you know. And at the end of the
Mm.
day, they're coming down to it and saying like, where can we strike red off of our ledger or whatever, and where can we start getting like financial revenue and aid and money coming in. Sadly, though, well, not sadly, I guess, or I guess maybe two-sided. Really, is that now that the season is most likely going to be coming back following that tweet we just read. I think a lot of their budget trouble, honestly, is just going to vanish.
Yeah, I think that's what really was needed for it. That's the only way to really get out of budget trouble when you're a college with a huge football program is to play actual games. But even they'll probably still be in budget troubles just because of I think I read they were about 15 million in the red. That's
Yeah.
They were over the budget by about 15 million starting off the season. And then their earlier plan of like 6 to 8 games, who knows how many games it will be now, but that was supposed to get them around $73.5 million in revenue, which is that sounds like a lot. I mean, that is a lot, but it's 50 million less than what their
Yeah.
plan in May, which was a 10-game season, would have gathered them. So it's going to be a struggle. I mean, they had to defer. They had to take a deferral on the loan for the Husky Stadium rebuild, which happened in 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to tax on more money.
Sadly, yeah. I mean,
I mean, that's like that was like $600,000 higher each year they're having to pay.
yeah, the I'm pretty sure the way that 1 year deferral
Mhm.
works though is that it's like saying like, hey, we're not taking any interest this year. So that was a really smart move by the financial department over there.
Yeah.
And this I feel like gives me a base to advocate for something I feel like should have happened and
Mhm.
really like should have happened a long time ago. Is that like I feel like I personally think coaches get paid way too much money to coach teams. Not just like yearly salaries, but like we're looking at things like pledges, incentive payments, like score lines and stuff like that. They're getting paid so much extra money outside of like professors and teachers and whatnot that I mean, like one of the craziest things I think happened was that the director of athletics, Jen Cohen, as well as Jimmy Lake and Mike Hopkins, they both, all three of them, waived all of their incentive payments for the upcoming year, as well as pledging major gifts to the athletic department, and that was a decent chunk of cash to those
Yeah.
three people alone. And I think that was like a really big highlight in saying like, hey guys, we might be paying our coaches and some other staff or something. Like we might be putting money in places where we might not need to put that much money.
Well, I think that I kind of disagree. I think they have to pay them that much money, or else they won't have these top tier coaches because other schools will pay them. And if you really think about it in the big picture, the amount of money that these football coaches can make the university by having a great football program, like the Huskies have been a great football program in recent years, it kind of covers the cost of these coaches. I don't know off the top of my head how much money Jimmy Lake makes. Do you know off per year?
I know that he makes the most money out of anyone who's employed by the University of Washington. Verifiable fact that you can look up on the UW website.
I totally believe that, but then in the whole realm of things, he's probably not even one of the top 10 paid coaches in college football. That's
Yeah.
that would need stats backed up, but Nick Saban, I mean Clemson's coaches. These guys in the SEC are making close to $10 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That boils down to a completely other problem about how much you pay coaches or personnel staff and whatnot.
We can maybe touch on that next week.
We come back next week. You'll find out. Watch our Twitters. We'll let you know if we end up touching on that next week. Just lastly, to close this out, I wanted to mention that the athletic department for the University of Washington started a fundraising campaign called Huskies All In, where fans can transition any seat-related gifts and or season ticket payments into donations. Like, you'll transfer it from a normal payment into a donation to the program. They're projected to earn about $3.2 million in donations.
Yeah, it was a big letdown. They apparently originally were trying to raise close to $15 million off that, but only 15% of the season ticket holders actually donated their whole season tickets.
Yeah, and I mean, every little bit helps, and it's great. But even with that letdown, I'm glad that we're seeing the athletic department like openly say and state that, like, even though they weren't getting as much money as they were hoping, because of like the culture that we've adopted as Huskies, whether it be from admin all the way down to everyday students, is that we've cultivated a culture of like inclusion and making sure that everyone feels like they have a place here. Yeah. And because of that, I hope that they continue to stick to their guns and refuse to cut any sports.
Yeah, I hope no sports have to be cut. I mean, I also look at it kind of in the positive.